I'm feeling bored, yeah, let's take a flight. Might go to Phoenix, might see Hawaii. I'm loving all the views even at night. On my mind.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So I've been running this billet shifter for about a year now. This one I have is the knockoff version of the K-tuned one. No issues so far. One thing I did to spice it up a little was add a shifter cover, mainly to help prevent anything from getting inside, but also gives it a cleaner look. Super easy to make. It's literally just a rectangle. I took some plexiglass, cut it to size, vinyl wrapped it in carbon fiber wrap, and that's pretty much it. The only bad thing is it kind of got damaged. It has a few cracks. My son was sitting in the back and he threw his Hot Wheels and the shifter cover took the L. Now I'm gonna make another one, but this time around I get to show you guys. Also, I did want to add something to the mix to make it a little more customizable. I got this little adjustable short shifter adapter thing. It should help move the shift knob to a more comfortable position, or if I'm tracking, I can move it to a more convenient location. Let's go take a quick look at all the parts that I'm using. First, just a simple piece of plexiglass. This one that I have came in a pack. It's 6 by 8 inches. It's fairly thin, so that's probably why it cracked so easily, but I already have it, so I'm gonna use it. I am using a Dremel to cut it, along with this round sander. It's so when we make that middle cutout, we can get a round shape in the corners. I have some leftover carbon fiber wrap that I'm gonna wrap it with. And after it's all cut and wrapped, to mount it, I use some double-sided foam tape. Not the best solution, but it works. I'd recommend not to use anything too sticky, just so that when you need to remove it, it's not too difficult. And as for this adjustable shifter adapter, I bought this off Amazon. I'll leave a link for this in the video description below. Comes in a few different colors. I chose the silver finish just so it can match the rest of the shifter. It should have all the parts needed for installation. Should make the shifter look a little more aggressive, but also add some more customizability. And one last thing is thread locker. I'm gonna add it to any screws. It's just for added insurance so that nothing comes loose while driving. Here's the original shifter cover. Doesn't look too bad. Actually looks pretty good, but look how massive this opening is. Especially when you have a short shifter, you're only using like half the size of the opening. And here's the custom one that I made. You can kind of see the cracks already. You can definitely see the cracks from behind. I try to kind of tape it up so it doesn't crack anymore. Yeah, definitely use something thicker, guys. Here's a look side by side. Here's the opening. That's crazy. Nothing wrong with this, but it's just that opening is freaking ginormous, guys. That's a quick look at all the parts. Now it's time to get to work. First, take measurements of the shifter so you know where to cut. A little over 5.5. Yeah, a little over 6 inches. As for the middle cutout, you can make it as big or as small as you want. I tried to make mine as small as possible without interfering with the shifts. I already adjusted my short shifter to my liking, so this is why I have it this size. To make it easier for yourself, you can get like a piece of paper or cardboard just as a mock-up. That's what I did until I was happy with the cutout. It just takes a little trial and error. Since I still have my old cover, I'm gonna use this as a template to make it easier. But once you have your template, trace it onto the plexiglass. Now we got the template all traced out. It's time to cut it. Always cut a little bit less than what you would, because you can always cut a little bit more and a little bit more to make fitment as good as possible. It does take a steady hand to cut it straight, so definitely take your time cutting it. Here's that first cut. Second cut. Not the best cut, but it'll work. The vinyl wrap will hide some of the flaws. Probably clean up the edges a little bit, but that's perfectly fine. I'll go over it after we get this middle part. So what I do is cut the straight lines first, and then at the corners, just cut it in an angle, just so we can pop this out. So the round part would just basically go around like that. Right here, all on the 4 edges, to get it rounded off. Like I said, cut the straight lines first, all around, and then we're gonna meet up, cut at an angle at all 4 corners. There we go, just like that. So we should be able to pop it out. Now slowly go in just like this, I'll just cut it like there, right here, same thing like that. Just start going in between so we can get it at least closest as possible to the corner so that we can round it off. Should be taking shape like that. I just cleaned up the edges a little bit, and that little rounded sander is gonna do most of the job. So it's gonna basically just start drumming like that in the corners. Here we go. We got that cut out. Not the cleanest, but that's okay. That pack of plexiglass, I can always try again if I mess up in any way. Any little imperfections, as long as it's not cracked, any little imperfections is going to be covered by that vinyl wrap anyways. So don't worry about damaging the plexiglass too much. Now that we got this cut, we got to clean it up a little bit so that when we throw on the vinyl wrap, it adheres properly. I got the carbon fiber wrap all cut up, a little bit more than what the shifter cover will be. After this, it's as easy as it gets because it's pretty flat. The only troubling area is the middle. I'm going to go ahead and clean these edges a little bit. They're like a little bit jagged if you guys can't see. Yeah, they're a little bit jagged. So I'm gonna clean this up real quick. Before throwing on the vinyl wrap, definitely test fit this in the shifter area before you throw vinyl wrap on, because if you need to cut it down more, you're gonna have to cut the wrap, possibly damage the wrap too. So definitely test fit it. I'm gonna go test fit it right now. There we go. I'm happy with the fitment. All right, good to go. It's completely up to you how do you do it, but what I do is I lay it down, make sure you got the right orientation, take the back cover off, slap this on, even it out. Just flatten this side out. This does come with like a protective layer, that's why it's super shiny and it looks wrinkly, but just kind of try to get all the bubbles out. A few ways to do this. You can either just cut out the excess or flap it over. Oh, I can already tell I didn't smooth this out enough, but I'm perfectly fine with that. I can always redo it like I said, but I'll show you guys how to do the middle part. For that middle cutout, you can use scissors, or I like to use a box cutter. It's pretty easy. You just basically trace, literally just trace the cutout. Just going around cleaning up the edges to make sure that I get a nice clean cutout. There we go, we got a nice clean cutout. Still got the wrap so we can protect it when we're ready to put it on. We'll just unpeel it. Now, time to put some adhesive underneath. There we go, really easy. Let's go in the car and let's install it. We're not getting first, but just sliding it on. Woo! That looks so good. Oh my God. Like, even though I messed up, like the edges are a little bit wrinkly, I forgot how good it looks without the cracks. And just took the peel off and we get that nice carbon fiber glossy finish. Obviously you see the bubbles and stuff. I just did it in a hurry just to show you guys, but I'm gonna make another one of these. But we got an uncracked one, so that's great. I'm not gonna take the adhesive on the bottom yet. Still need to work on that adjustable shifter. Alright guys, so I'm checking out the shifter and trying to figure out the assembly. Screw on one of these little adapter things all the way. Then you grab the actual shifter adjuster, just like that. It's tightened by these little 3 screws right here. They come with the kit. 1, 2, and 3. These little 3 screws. You basically just insert right there. I'm definitely gonna put in some blue thread locker right here for these screws so they don't back out and all of a sudden this like becomes sloppy. Yep. So I'm gonna do that. This little nut right here, I think it's to put underneath right here. Kind of locks it in. And then as for the height, it's basically just you tighten these two and it goes up and down. The shifter looks super high right now. It's good that this kind of brings it back. Because of how I sit, I prefer this shifter to be a little bit more back, so this does kind of help with me getting a little bit more comfortable for daily driving. I don't really track or drag the car, so I think I'm gonna lower this rod right here. I'm gonna cut it. This is supposed to be adjustable, but it's really only like an inch adjustable, that's it. High and low. It's already at its lowest point, and you see how tall this is. It's already reaching the steering wheel, which is pretty crazy. So I'm gonna cut probably, I don't even know, like 3 or 4 inches off this so this can sit a little more flush with this area right here. So let me get to work with that. I'm gonna put these screws in, these small screws right here with blue thread locker to lock it in. This just basically you spin it to tighten it, and then this height, it'll be pretty adjustable. Like when I sit in the driver's seat, I'm gonna try to adjust it however, you know, I'm comfortable with. This is a metal cutting disc. You probably want to use an angle grinder, but this will do the job. Safety first, guys, always. And here it is, guys, all cut. This should just slide all the way in. Adjustable adapter, we'll just screw on right here. So let's go back to the car. So I'm gonna opt to not use this little locking nut, and we'll see what happens. I'll run it, and if I have any issues with it like rotating too much, I'll install this lock nut. Alright guys, so I think I figured everything out. So this part is the other half of this. And when I installed this part, it was perfectly fine, but it wasn't flush. You see how square this is? This part right here on the bottom, it wasn't sitting flush. And this part right here, the adjustable part, it had like a little gap. It didn't look that great, honestly. So when I install it like this, it's basically the same mechanism as down there. So I'm just gonna tighten all these Allen bolts right here. And now it sits flush. It moves this back a little bit, and I should be able to hold the shift knob right here. And it's super comfortable for me because I usually like to lean my elbows on this. So I'll be able to shift first, second, third, fourth while my elbows resting. This way, like, it feels really comfortable for me, and I can always revert back to stock. I can't use this anymore. Well, I can use this, but it'll be super short now. Probably be like this. But dude, this looks super sick. Let me throw on this piece right here, the rod. And this is basically it, guys. I haven't tightened anything down yet, but definitely made it a little taller. So maybe I can shorten the throws even more. The taller it is, the more you have to move. So it's just how the lever mechanism works. Let me tighten everything down and let's throw on some cinematics. This is a few days later, so I went back and rewrapped that shifter plate. I didn't like how there were small imperfections, but it looks a lot cleaner now. You can basically use any wrap that you want. I chose gloss carbon fiber because it matches the TL's interior, and you don't even have to wrap it. You could run a clear cover, but I don't recommend it because that shifter area doesn't have the cleanest look. Also, you don't have to do plexiglass. You can do other materials if you wanted, but I highly recommend plastic because it's cheap and it's easy to work with. Just don't get anything too thin like I did. As for the adjustable shifter adapter, this thing makes the shifter look super aggressive. I underestimated how high this thing is. I'm glad it brought the shifter position back a little bit, so I'm reaching less horizontally, but because it's so high, I have to reach more vertically. And since the shifter is taller, the throw of each shift has increased. I shortened the throw when installing the billet shifter, so now this thing makes it feel like OEM again. I could go back and shorten the throw even more, but I'm gonna run it as is for now. Anyway guys, that wraps it up for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed as always. Catch you on the next one. Peace.